For our first match of the top 36 elimination round, we've got Roulette XS, who immediately deals some pretty crucial blows to the flipper of Gridman, who misses that first flip but is so far rebutted nicely, taking Roulette into that big spinner and will now shove it into the hammer, presumably. No, instead it'll take some hits itself, but to get flipped into that corner, now using Roulette as a helmet. Well,
there goes half flipper.
Yeah, Gridman certainly would need a helmet after that one, as looks like that flipper is almost already completely disabled. The Roulette just spinning itself all around the arena. This would be a good position for Gridman to flip Roulette out of the arena if it still had the capability. It might instead try to prevent itself from tackling a long game and just pushes it into the pit. So we've got Queen against SDB, who similarly to 8 Wheels of Terror is extremely aggressive. SDB has more of a flipper focus though, as it just tosses Queen all around the arena. We'll have to be careful not to get that weapon stuck just like that under Queen, who doesn't have the most destructive spinner necessarily, but it's generally good at controlling the ground game. So once it does have control of its opposition, it can be hard to escape its clutches, but right now the same could certainly be said of SDB, who's just throws Queen up against that plexiglass. Has not given Queen any room whatsoever to get underneath or control this fight at all. SDB will want to try to shove Queen down that pit, because as we've seen earlier in this fight, these little hits it takes as it flips these spinners do count up. And Queen finally, almost able to get underneath SDB, but it's just too difficult to get under the slippery design of SDB. Queen still struggling to find all 4 wheels on the ground. SDB not really having any big pushes or big flips, just going for a lot of little ones. But unfortunately that could come down to Queen's favor, unless SDB is able to really have some consequential control here, like that big hammer blow. It's now caught itself under. Queen managing to nip off more of SDB's flipper, but I don't think SDB's really had a goal of flipping Queen out of the arena quite yet. It's more just been a sort of tool of control against Queen. We go into the minute and quarter mark. Queen still just utterly unable to find any sort of control here. Even when it is the right way up, SDB is right there to shove it once again, as it does with a hefty slam into the wall.
Looks like half of the flipper's been removed now.
Yeah, but Queen still hasn't managed to do anything. It hasn't taken much damage at all from SDB, but still, if it comes down to a judge's decision, SDB has really, all aside from damage, been completely in control of this fight. SDB, of course, if it rests on its laurels at all, and Queen is able to have a couple good hits in, the entire tone of this fight could change. But STB is really just kind of keeping out of that disc's reach. 30 seconds left, but somehow Queen able to disable SDB with a shock defeat at the very end. And both of these machines narrowly made it into the last chance qualifier, but they each made good of their choice or their circumstances and managed to win quite convincingly. Both these machines trying to make an underdog tail into that top 24 elimination bracket. Each of these purple machines going kind of blow for blow so far, but Fight or Flight certainly has more control than Fractured Diamond, which has had that problem sort of throughout the melees it's been in. This, of course, being the first proper one-on-one both of these robots has seen in this tournament. But Fight or Flight, its control is lending itself well to this environment so far, but that front has taken a lot of damage from Fractured Diamond, so Fractured Diamond definitely has some potential to still turn this fight around, because it takes a heavy hit from that arena spinner, which will spin faster as the fight goes on. Fight or Flight was looking like it was trying to have a good push at Fractured Diamond towards that arena wall, but was interrupted by the hammer. And Fractured Diamond with a heavy hit onto that drum of Fight or Flight, who is looking quite dazed. Fight or Flight with a good hit against Fractured Diamond, sending it flying into the hammer with a bit of a combo hit. In that exchange, Fight or Flight has its weapon disabled, but Fractured Diamond loses a wheel. But if we're being honest here, I don't think that'll really even do that much to make Fractured Diamond any less unstable. That weapon of Fractured Diamond is still looking as lethal as it's ever been in this fight. With just under half of this fight's duration remaining, Fight or Flight needs to do something, or I don't know how much longer it'll be able to take the punishment from Fractured Diamond. Having control can only go so far in this violent game, as all these hits from Fractured Diamond might nudge Fight or Flight closer and closer towards its demise. Fight or Flight certainly not looking as tenacious as it was at the beginning of the fight. And unfortunately for it here, I think can only take one or two more hits from Fractured Diamond as it spins that horizontal into it for the finishing blow. And we should have a fun, if not quick one here with an incredible start. Two, well...
I love these race car robots.
Yeah. Two sort of front-hinged lifters. Or I suppose Max Power is more of a kind of front-hinged flipper launcher type. Right now being more controlled than it usually is, with Yellow Heart not really having much room to show its good control game until now, as it'll try to push Max Power into that spinner. Manages to topple over Max Power and deal a little bit of damage. Of course, that spinner at the beginning of the fight won't be quite at max velocity yet, but will still deal a little bit of damage to Max Power. As right now, Yellowheart is just trying to avoid that big, strong drive of Max Power. Dancing in the middle of a mosh pit at I went to it the other day. It's kind of funny. Oh! Something happened finally. Max Power.
Specific.
Max Power throws Yellowheart into the spinner, and I'm not sure if it can actually right itself.
Leave it!
From this angle. Max Power is trying to decide if it wants to choose violence or just take the win.
No!
Well, we'll see if its hubris will catch up to Max Power, but instead it'll try to go for a clean KO. For now, Yellowheart is not showing any graciousness towards Max Power, and immediately will try to drive it towards the pit, but Max Power is a little bit slippery here. Max Power kind of just hanging out on top of Yellowheart, not trying to end up underneath the pit. Yellowheart, oh, shoving it closer and closer, and hubris will indeed catch up to Max Power.
It's literally the same robot, just with a different weapon.
Berserker 3 is, after a controversial win in the last chance qualifier, will try to make the most of its opportunity here. The golden opportunity, if you will. Yeah, the fight the fight required like multiple restarts until I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like, Berserker 3 was essentially like not the robot that was causing the restarts, so I was like, you know what, the last fight it won, I'll just let it stand. And finally it gets a good strike there onto Crash Drone 2 again. Courtesy of Tommy and the design of Craig. Shout out Craig. Justice for Flamingo. Oh my goodness, Craft Drone almost gets surprisingly flipped out by the axe. And the axe will just slam it into that arena spinner. Berserker 3 is probably the most aggression we've seen out of it all tournament.
Damn.
As Craft Drone 2 again is just getting absolutely slammed. So losing quite a bit off that that spinner, and as a consequence, gets
what spinner?
absolutely destroyed. Berserker 3 with a crushing blow onto the spinner of Crash Drone 2, and if
getting tag team.
Yeah, if it's not able to stabilize itself here, Berserker 3 could just flip it over. Crash Drone 2 using that plow though, getting underneath and toppling over Berserker 3 after pushing it into the hammer.
You can see the look of shock on Crash Drone's face.
Oh, but unfortunately, it could have been eliminated there, but Berserker 3 choosing violence once more, and will now continue this cycle of violence, pushing Crash Drone 2 into the arena spinner. Now it's eyeing up that pit. But first, we'll take a detour. Get some more smacks in with that big axe. Oh, massive hit. Flipping Craft Drone 2. This is just gore at this point.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think this will be all she wrote for Craft Drone 2. We've got a Flipper by Wen versus Tilkamark 2. Who, after being thrown down to the last chance qualifier by Vlad the Penetrator, is able to win its match in that last melee to face this, hopefully durable wedge of Wen. We've seen how destructive this tri-bar can be, so the Wen Flipper is doing a good job to get around him, avoiding that spinner, and will want to find an arena wall to flip it over. Right now, we're just doing donuts in the middle of the arena. It was a bad time to get a snack, as we could get pretty dizzy from this. Oh. We'll see if it collides with anything, or if we're just on a merry-go-ride here. Might be to the benefit of Wen's flipper, as it is staying out of harm's way of that big spinner. Not able to quite get underneath him for the Uda chance, and then misses the flip. We'll try once more, getting him up against that wall, but not quite enough power under that flip. Tilcum will spin away. And attack once again with that tri-bar, shearing away that right side of Wen's flipper. He's trying once again to get him up and over that wall, but instead we'll have to settle for some hammer hits. Now might be a good opportunity for a follow-up flip, but just glances off of Tilcum and sends him into that hammer once again. Wen's flipper will want to get a quick resolution to this fight. He's just halfway through. It's taken a lot of damage. He doesn't have a lot of armor remaining. And Tilcum taking advantage of this with some pretty ferocious slashing hits onto the side of Wen's flipper, continuously attacking that weak side, and might just finish it off here. Next up, we've got everyone's favorite cube, Bloodshot 2, versus that big flipper of Anthracite. Already perfect position, but unfortunately flips itself over. Bloodshot 2 stays alive. Anthracite making it into the top 36 after losing its first round matchup against Hunterator, and then winning the closest judge's decision we've had so far, spoiler alert, in its last chance qualifier. It'll want to avoid the same fate as it did in the winner's bracket by getting a swift KO against Bloodshot 2, who gets sent flying into the air like a helicopter. In a good position here to lift it over the edge, but not quite getting the full force of that flipper underneath it. Anthracite was quite impressive in qualifiers and has had a pretty disappointing turnout, to say the least, so far, as it takes some more damage from Bloodshot 2. Bloodshot 2's trying to get underneath Anthracite, but chain together some hits on that big bar. Does so effectively. Ooh, huge hit from Bloodshot 2. As Anthracite takes even more damage. Strong flip there as it goes towards that low wall. But Bloodshot 2 backs away into the center of the arena. Anthracite sizing him up again. He's tossing him perfectly up and down. That big blade stabilizing its gyroscopic forces. Another big launch, but doesn't quite get a diagonal enough launch. Now could be a perfect opportunity, though. Skipping against that low wall. Anthracite, can it follow up? Not strongly enough to get it over that arena wall. Instead, it'll slam against that high wall with 1:20 remaining. Bloodshot 2 trying to get around to that other side. Oh, and delivering another huge hit against Anthracite. Following up while it tries to self-right. Bloodshot 2 not having the best control this fight, but when it has, it's made the most of its opportunities to deal some pretty heavy blows to Anthracite. Anthracite now electing it into the dangerous possible position for Bloodshot 2 between the pit and the high wall. Anthracite will need to defeat it quickly. Otherwise, it has a lot of exposed parts that Bloodshot 2 is looking to dig right into. As it gets underneath and sends Anthracite flying across the arena. Anthracite getting back underneath. Can it flip him over? Yes. It can just kind of push him through the air towards that wall again. Now might be the opportunity. No, it breaks off the flipper instead of throwing it over into that low wall. 30 seconds remaining. Can Anthracite hold on and try to test its luck with another judge's decision? They'll try to deal some damage of its own against Bloodshot 2. But I'm not sure if it'll be able to do enough to even get on the board in that category with the amount of damage Bloodshot 2 has done and continues to do. Anthracite, oh, I'm not sure if it can right itself from this position. It may have just, oh, no, it is able to get back on and hang on for now. There's barely anything left to it. We'll see if Bloodshot 2 has done enough in the other categories to move on in a judge's decision, but needless to say, the damage might just push it on to the next round. And for our final match of the T36 elimination bracket, we've got Bot at Work, who's been surprisingly strong in these melees, or at least shown some promise, against that deadly spinner of Mean Streak. And right now, despite the strong start for Bot at Work, he's got him right where he wants him. Mean Streak doesn't necessarily go for the biggest hits, but it's adept at just chaining together a lot of jabs. Sort of like a, oh, death by 1,000 cuts, but that was a huge slashing blow combined with the ram into the hammer. Bot at Work will try to avoid the arena hazard, get its own axe into play.
But I guess you could say he's getting quite a mean streak of hits in right now.
It sure is. Bot at Work, just kind of stuck in a tailspin. Mean Streak not giving Bot at Work any room whatsoever. Now might be the time to strike, but it maneuvers around, gets underneath Bot at Work, who seemingly missed its opportunity for a heavy swing there. Forks get back underneath Bot at Work, who's unfortunately taking more hammer shots than than Mean Streak seemingly has, and some of that top hammer armor has been crushed by that arena hazard. Bot at Work just keeping a Bot at Work has been kept in the corner by Mean Streak, who swerves around Bot at Work, showing some impressive agility, just bouncing Bot at Work all over. Bot at Work, once again, missing a good opportunity to swing that hammer. Not sure if it can really afford to be any more patient in this fight, the way it's been going, the way Mean Streak has just been picking apart Bot at Work with such tenacity. Mean Streak does have a really good chance at making an elimination bracket run. So many combination hits against Bot at Work makes you wonder how much longer it can stay active. Bot at Work may be able to, no, it'll just kind of roll over Mean Streak. If it can just swing that hammer onto that weapon, it might be able to do something. Oh no, it just loses its opportunity. It's not swinging that axe when it really needs to, and it's, well, with all the damage it's taken, the wedge being so torn up. It's going to lose that wedge game every time. Mean Streak, oh, up behind Bot at Work with a huge slam into the wall. Mean Streak just looking to finish off Bot at Work and does so with a huge hit.